How we doing, guys? Today we are working on animations. We're going to be using the animation player. This is the jet that I have drawn, and I have animated the engines turning on. The jets fire up, and now all we got to do is give it some, and all we got to do now is put it into our game and use it from there. So this is our pixel art. Now you're going to want to remember any project that you save on this web page, you're going to want to save it as a pixel project. That will allow you to use it on different computers at your home and then just make changes after you've done stuff to it. And then after you have saved it as a pixel project, you are also going to want to download it. You're going to want to download all the frames from this project, which is right here. So I would click the All button. You're going to see it downloads a bunch of frames for me. That goes into your downloads folder. I have already prepared this so you guys can see what's happening here. I have my downloads folder on the left. There's all my jets. I went ahead and named them. Typically when they come out, they're named, you know, just whatever. So pixel, 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 just over and over. So what you're going to do is you're going to rename all of these to Jet 1 and so on and so forth, which is this right here. And then you're going to want to go to your project folder. Here is my project folder, Tower Defense Tutorial, and I have a bunch of other projects, and I kind of put all my stuff together and try to keep it sorted. I will open up, this is my project folder where I keep all my games. I made a folder in here called Sprites, and I have a Jet folder, so I put all these pictures into there. Alright, that's the setup for this, and now let's get into the actual learning. So over here on the left hand side you'll see that same setup here. I have my Sprites folder, I have my Jet, there are the pictures of all of my jets, and we are going to be making a 2D animation here. So we're going to start out with a custom node, and I want you to type kinematic body. We're going to be using a kinematic body for this, and so I'm going to create. So my main node for this is actually the kinematic body, and if you are trying to animate a character walking or maybe a turret shooting, you're going to name this kinematic body accordingly. This is my jet, so I am calling this one Jet, and then I am going to add a sprite onto this jet. So here we go, Jet, and I'm going to go to Sprite. Now I have this sprite here. Here we go. And then I am going to add an animation. Okay, animation player. Here it is right there. So I have my sprite, I have my jet, or I have my kinematic body, my sprite, and now I'm adding an animation player. So I am adding them in just this fashion: the jet at the top, sprite next, and then the animation player after that. And I'm going to go to the sprite, and I'm going to add in my first picture, my Jet 0 right there. Now I have my Jet 0. This is the starting animation. The jets are off, nothing's happening. And I'm going to make a flying animation, which is right here. If you're making a walking animation, you're going to call that walking. I'm going to select animation, new, and I'm going to call this flying. Okay, so I have my flying animation. As soon as I hit enter on that, you're going to notice a little timeline bar appear. Now the timeline bar allows you to adjust your picture over time. So right here is the zooming in and out. So if I zoom in on this like this, I can get a better idea of what's happening. See, I don't need to zoom way out. I want to zoom in to see what I'm working. This little gray part here is where the work is actually being done. And if you click on your bar here, you can see it jumps from one spot to the next. Where it jumps is based upon this snap right here. So if your snapping is set to 0.1, it's only going to jump every 0.1 seconds. To give myself some more points to click onto. I'm going to change this snap to 0.01, and then you're going to be able to click a lot more places here. Alright, so there's that. Now I'm going to go all the way to the start of this animation, and from the animation, whenever you add the animation player, you'll notice it adds these little keys here. So on all of these guys, I've got a key, and I got an animation key, I got a transform key here, I've got visibility, and what all these keys do allow you to put like little checkpoints on your animation for each one of these. So the first checkpoint on this animation is going to be my 0 animation with the jets off. So I'm going to come over here to this animation, I'm going to click this key, and it asks me if I want to create a basically a checkpoint. Do you want to start a texture checkpoint dealy? A new track is what it's called. So I'm going to hit create, and right there is a little dot that is checkpoint 1. 0. This is jet 0 starting here, and now I'm going to go to the next checkpoint. I'm just going to start, I don't care, I'm just going to move over a little bit, and now I'm going to switch this picture out with a new one. I'm going to grab my jet 1, I'm going to drop it in there, and now my engines are slightly coming on, they're starting to warm up. I'm going to hit the key again, and now I have another checkpoint, and I'm going to move over again, and I'm going to switch it to the next jet. I'm going to hit the key here, and now I have another one. Now I'm going to go to 1.5 here, or 0.15, I'm sorry, and then I'm going to get the next jet. The engines are slowly warming up, and I'm just going to keep doing this until I get all 10 of them added here. And you can kind of see where this is going. Now you can imagine this as like a player, like I don't know, a YouTube video or something, and as the video plays, the animation in the background is going to happen, and you get to decide when the animations take place and what actually happens. So your drawings are important here. Okay, let's see if we got all these. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. So I have 10 here. Now you can see that I did not use my entire time frame here, so I can spread them out, or I can leave it as is. Let's over here on the right hand side, I have this little loop button here. I'm going to click that. I'm going to go ahead and leave it on 1 second. We'll deal with that here momentarily. Let's go ahead and hit play. The loop is on, so we will see the animation taking place. The engines warm up, they turn on, and then they are fired up, and now everything is playing correctly. So that's looking good right there. Simple animation created. Now let's say I want the... Let's try and check out some of these other features here. I'm going to hit stop. I'm going to go to the start of this animation, and just like I was talking about those other keys, there's more things you can do to this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the rotation of my sprite. So over here on the right hand side, if you'll look at transform, you'll see the rotation key. I'm going to just start a rotation key. So that keyed in the current rotation of my jet, which was at 0. So there was no rotation whatsoever. And then I'm going to go to the, I'm going to go move over in my animation, I don't know, maybe 0.3 seconds. And I'm going to add another key here. And I'm going to do this as 90, and I'm going to set it. Okay, so at this point in my animation, I have 0 rotation, and in this point I have 90 degrees of rotation. Now you can see as I'm transitioning between one and the next, the rotation is turning slowly. It didn't snap to one or the other. It slowly went from one to the other. That is how this animation player works. There's several different options you can do here. I haven't played around with all of them, but basically the computer is guessing how you want to turn those, how you want to turn the animation. So it kind of like divides the space up and puts it back, and I don't know, it takes a difference. It takes like an average between the two. So the stuff doesn't just like snap to one or the other. Now you can make it turn slower by spreading these points out. So let's try this out. See how it turns a little slower. So the animation is slower, but it's still turning. Okay, now I'm going to show you something else about this. I'm going to put this back to 0.3, and then I'm going to come over here to the very end of the animation, and I'm going to add another rotation. I'm going to put it back at 90, and so that makes this point 90 and this one 90. So since these two are the same, it draws a line in between the two so you can visually see, hey, this animation stays consistent during this whole section of time here. So let's hit play, see what happens. The model turns and stays facing that way. The jets come on. That's cool. Let's play around with some other stuff here. Let's go to the sprite. Let's go back to transform again, and let's do a scale. I'm going to hit the scaling key, create. Now I've captured the size of my jet, and I want to scale it up. I'm going to scale it up all the way to here, and it's going to end up at 1.5. 1.5. So now the jet gets bigger, and then I'm going to have the jet shrink down, and at the very end of this I'm going to have it land at 0.6, so it's going to get smaller over time. Oops, I clicked the wrong thing here. 0.6 to 0.6, and save this. Now what's going to happen is the jet's going to get larger as it's turning, and then it's going to start shrinking down as time goes on. Cool. So we kind of have like a little animation taking place here. The jet's turning to face a certain direction. The jets start to ignite then, and then the jet should take off. Okay, so I'm going to also adjust a couple of these things here. I'm going to move how my jets heat up. I'm going to adjust this just a little, and let's see what this animation looks like. And a lot of this is just tweaking and trying to get stuff just right the way you like it, but here we go. So the jet turns, the engines warm up, they starting to flame on, and right there, they're as it's hitting that 90-degree turn, they're coming on, and then they're full burn. Alright, let's see what else can we do here with this. Now let's add another movement to this. Let's get the position at the start. There's our starting position. We're making a new one, and then once it hits this, I'm going to capture this position again. So those are all the same, and then as time goes on, I want to move the jet. Let's move it just over here, and I'm going to capture this position again. So I have 3 positions. The jet is going to make it's going to appear like the jet is coming up towards the camera, turning, deciding what position it wants to go in. The jets are going to come on, and then the jet is going to fly off, appearing to fly off into the distance. Pretty cool. So let's hit play on this and see what this animation looks like. Now that's all taking place fairly quickly, so if we wanted to add a little bit of more time to this, we could do something like this. Let's zoom out just a little bit, and I'm going to make this animation take even longer. I'm going to make this a 2-second animation. Now you can see it gave me some more area to work with here, and I am just going to kind of translate this stuff over and make it look a little bit more smooth. Something of this nature here. And you can do the same with your animations. I don't know what you're drawing, but there's a lot to work with on all this stuff. Let's see what that looks like. So it should, I basically just stretched it out and kind of slowed it down. Cool. Okay, so the jet appears to take off, firing up the engines, and when they light up, the jet flies away. Okay, that's going to be it for this video. I hope you learned something. There's a lot more things to take a look at, but hopefully I got you started. All right, guys, have a good day.